Hi, my name is Joshua Blackburn and I'm 18 years old. I go to Texas Tech and I'm studying finance as my major. I was born and raised in Plano, Texas, which is in Collin County. I'm basically a typical teenager that does typical teenage things. I hang out with my friends, I have a part-time job, I hang out with my brother, I have my own car. I live in a two-story house with my mom and dad, my brother, and two dogs and one cat. But one day I woke up and my mom asked me, do you want to volunteer with the homeless? And obviously I said yes, so let me see how that is. So the organization that I'm volunteering to today is Streetside Showers. My mom has been volunteering there for the past 2.5 years. Basically, Streetside Showers is an organization that lets homeless people come up to the truck that has 3 showers in it where they can use the bathroom and shower, and lets them eat and wait to get cleaned off. Basically, where I come in is I help make the food and serve it to them while they're waiting for their showers. So today's a very special day because it's the day before Thanksgiving, so we have, I'm pretty sure, like 4 turkeys, a lot of pies, like gravy, all this stuff that you would basically eat at a Thanksgiving dinner. Alright, I'm about to go to Streetside Showers right now if you want to meet me there.
I don't know if that other one's. Do you want turkey or ham? Turkey.
Phew, that was a hard day of helping the homeless. We had a record turnout today. Just some facts I think you should know about Plano. Plano has a population of 288,061 people. The average household income is $94,306, and the average property value is $341,100. Plano is ranked among the top 100 of the nation's most affluent communities. So when I think of Plano, I don't really think of homeless people, but Plano does have homeless people. In fact, Collin County has 558 people in 2019, but that's only the people that were counted on January 24, 2019. There are probably way more that people just didn't really count. So basically what happened at Streetside Showers today was me and my mom, we drove in separate cars, but we got there around the same time, so I helped her unload all the food, and many more people who are also volunteering came out and helped us. But even in the car, I just saw how many people were on the street, like with backpacks, laying on all their belongings, like looking for a meal to eat. So right away, when the people saw us unpacking, they were like getting excited to eat and stuff. And we had so much food. Like I said, we had turkeys, pies, all that stuff for them. So we got right to work. We started feeding them turkeys to start off, giving them water, sun kiss, all that stuff. And they were just enjoying it. The people in the showers were all in a good mood. They like talk about stuff that they wouldn't really be open to unless they trusted you. So they obviously trusted us enough to know their whole story, and I got to talk to them and sit down with some people. One of the guys' name was Derek. My mom has actually helped him in the past many times. My mom has bought him a hotel room just to get him back on his feet, because he went through a hard time. His story was he lost his job a couple years back. I think it was like 4 years back, and his girlfriend kicked him out. And basically he had nowhere to go. And on top of that, he got in a fight that landed him in jail for 30 days. Ever since there, he's just been like sleeping on the bus, going to food bank, to Salvation Army, just to find somewhere to sleep and eat. And it's very sad. The main question I have from this experience is, how do I stay out of being homeless for the future? And if I ever am, do people have motivation to get out of that, or are they just accepting it as a fact? I actually interviewed my cousin Damon, which I'll have him on in a second, and I'll give you a different point of view of him, where he lives. He actually lives in Austin. There's a lot more homeless people there, and I'm going to see what he thinks about the whole situation. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Damon McElhenney.
And tell us a little about yourself.
I grew up in a pretty small town, Bastrop, Texas, right next to Austin, about a population of 40,000. It's not the nicest town. I mean, it's decent sized. It's definitely just a highway town though, just a for people to pass through. I grew up in a 2-story house with both my parents and a brother. I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and my life has been pretty normal. I haven't really had to struggle for much.
All right, so how many homeless people do you think you see in your area?
Not a ton in Bastrop, but when I drive to Austin, usually on the weekends, I see maybe 60 or 70 people, from when I get there to when I leave. They usually sleep under bridges next to downtown, and it's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen.
So, how do you think most of them ended up that way?
In my own personal opinion, I think a lot of them got involved with the wrong people and maybe hit a point in their life where they were looking for a quick fix and ended up getting a major addiction to something, or they just had a misfortunate thing happen to them. They lost their job. Their life just went spiraling downhill.
So, how do you think you can avoid that in the future for your future?
In my own personal opinion, I think it's not terribly difficult to avoid being homeless. I know in some situations it can be almost impossible, but if you put your mind to it and if you put forth the hard work, I think you can just end up living a good life and being able to fend for yourself.
All right, and last question. If you are ever in that point where you're homeless, do you think you know how to pull yourself out, or do you think you'll have the motivation to pull yourself out?
I think I would be out of it for maybe a week or two, but as soon as it kind of clicks in my brain, I would go, okay, I need to fix this. I need to redirect myself in a good direction, and I would try to work my way out of that spot.
All right, well, thank you for answering these questions.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Can you introduce yourselves?
My name's Laura Blackburn, and I'm Joshua's mother.
I'm Jill Severin, and I'm Laura's friend.
All right, can you tell us about yourselves?
I am a mother of 2, Joshua and Matthew, 18 and 15. I've been staying home for the past 18 years, taking care of my children, and we live in Plano, Texas.
All right.
I have 2 children, 15 and 17. I've stayed home most of their lives, and I live in Plano, also a street over from Laura and Josh.
All right, so how many homeless people do you think you see a day, in a day?
In our area,
Or just wherever you go?
where we live and where we
Drive.
shop and drive, none.
None. Mm-mm.
Now, depending on where I go, say for instance, like when I drive to Joshua's dad's office, I do see a couple under a bridge with signs. I assume they're homeless because they're asking for food and money, but around this area, we don't see any.
Mm-mm.
So how do you think they get in this situation, the homeless people, get to be homeless?
Maybe not working, maybe got fired from a job, or medical problems, drugs. I have done the point in time count where you go out and count homeless people, and I did meet a couple individuals who were homeless because their employment or their job did not pay enough money, so they were living check to check, and then he was hit by some medical problem, so he had medical bills, so he couldn't afford a place to stay. He had a job, but he was living in his car, so he couldn't afford a place to stay. But I think the misconception most people have that it is drug related, and they choose to be that way, but a lot of people don't choose to be homeless. They can't help their situation.
So do you agree with her, or do you think
Well, she covered most of it. I would say also maybe people that don't have a good raising, or don't have a stable home life and grow up on the streets, or move out when they're teenagers and maybe get into drugs, or live paycheck to paycheck, and that would be, I think, the main thing. But a lot of the people we see when we serve are normal. Some of them look like Laura and I, and they're just, I don't know. I wonder what happens. So I think it could be any reason.
You know, it's an eye opener in our area, being Plano, Frisco, Allen. I mean, the way we live, we kind of live in a bubble, but you know, when we sign our kids up for school and we have to, and there's a bunch of forms and they have free or reduced lunch, that shocks me. I mean, because some of those kids, I'm thinking, oh, we have free and reduced lunch in the area we live in, like, but we do. We have, I want to say there's, in the elementary school that we live by, there were like 10 kids that didn't have a meal that night. So they're just one paycheck away from being
Yeah, homeless.
So,
Or one bad relationship
Yeah.
away. You know, only one of them makes money and they get a divorce, or
right.
you know.
So, do you think there's a way to like get out of that like cycle of like being homeless, or?
Well, you know about that because
Yeah.
you have help run a program for that.
I do. I think, but you know, the individual has to be willing to do the program or get the help. There's some people that, you know, just last week I talked to an old man actually that has been helped by the Collin County Assistant League, or I can't remember the name, but they provided housing for him. He had a job, he was paying bills, but you know what he told me? And he goes, I don't like having the responsibility. I don't like going to the mail and opening a bill.
Having to be somewhere and
Yeah,
having bills
and
coming
having
in.
a bill to pay. And he goes, it was much easier living on the streets.
Nobody
with
needed
there's-
anything from you.
Yeah, no bills, no
Yeah.
responsibility.
Or you didn't know anybody anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are shelters, there are programs for people in need. Now the waiting list is huge and you have to follow steps, and a lot of people don't follow steps. A lot of people don't even have a license. You got to have a license to do anything.
Or a phone.
Yeah, or a phone, but you know, I think most of the people we've come in contact with do not want to be on the streets. They just need a little boost, just a little help.
All right. Well, that's everything. All the questions I have. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in conclusion, I learned today that no matter what area, I mean, usually the answers to those two questions are the same. I mean, homeless people, there are programs everywhere where you can get out of that situation. Like my mom said in her interview, I learned that. I didn't really know that there's those programs around, like every town. And the second thing, I mean, yeah, there's like stereotypes like drugs and everything, but there's also way more stories. Like everyone has a different story of why they get there. And I didn't realize that before hearing today in the interview. So I overall learned a lot, and I mean, I'm going to continue to help out Street Side Showers and volunteer a lot. Thank you.